everybody, and welcome back to another Chill Sunday stream. Hope everybody's doing well. Glad to see Ill commented. Might miss today's chill stream. Hope you all enjoy it. Sorry to hear that. Hope you'll be able to join next week. Flying Shark, woohoo, it's stream time. It is indeed. Welcome, welcome. So I want to remind everybody, first and foremost, to streams using the wrong mic? What? I only have one mic set up. Okay. Hello and welcome, Jalix. Hope you're having a chill and lovely Sunday. I'm going to remind everybody again to switch over to live chat so you can all talk with one another in addition to me. Top chat tends to make it so that certain comments get removed, and I encourage my chat to talk with each other, not just with me. How are my sound? How's my voice versus the background for the music? Does the music need to come up at all, or is it good? Because I want to make sure you're able to hear the chill music, but that you're still able to hear me. You'd say it's good? Okay. Well, if anybody needs me to crank it one way or the other, let me know. We'll figure that out. Sounds good, Shark. Thank you for that. So yeah, we're going to be finishing Omno today. It's not a very long game, but this has been a very beautiful journey, and put the music a tad quieter, really. There we go. I literally put it a tad quieter. But yeah, we're going to be finishing Omno today with this being a very short game, but it's been a wonderful adventure so far, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how this concludes and going on the rest of this journey with this staffed protagonist. When we finish the game, we'll probably stop back into Staxel to prepare for next week's game, which I will reveal later in the stream. And today's topic is going to be accessibility in gaming. It actually came to my mind from what I started talking about last week when we were playing Omno, which is that not every game needs to be Dark Souls. Not every game needs to be Souls-like. Not every game needs to have a repetitive game loop. And so it got me thinking a lot about how we define accessibility in gaming. And I want to tie that both into difficulty, as well as physical accessibility. How does gaming look, feel, is experienced by someone who is disabled, for example? You know, if you happen to have, like, say, and this is just an example, we'll talk more on it later, but if you happen to be somebody who can't mash a button, something as simple as that, a lot of games rely on you doing that. A lot of games have you, even Bug Fables, which we just played, had a scenario where there's certain abilities where you literally had to mash either the A button on the Xbox controller or the cross button on the PlayStation controller. And, you know, if you're not able to consistently mash a button because either you have something with your fingers or what have you, whether it be some sort of like carpal tunnel or whatever. So these are the type of things I want to talk about. So if anybody wants to kind of mull over some ideas by the time we get to the topic, that'd be great, because I'd love to hear what you all have to say on the matter as well. Honestly, accessibility features all the way. There's no real argument against them. No, there isn't. But there is an interesting argument about gameplay core, what makes the gameplay, versus the experience of difficulty, for example. And obviously we should be making gaming as accessible as possible. But this game, for example, Omno, it doesn't have really, from what I've seen, too many things that would make it inaccessible. But one of the things I was very much considering was, if you only have one person making the game, it makes it that much harder. You're bringing up some really good points, Jalix. Save that for later in the discussion, because those are things that I was thinking about as well. Monetary accessibility and capitalism, things like loot boxes, and the way we design things. I was even thinking about things like time. Shark says there was a setting in Bug Fables to change the button mashing skills to press buttons in the right order type skills, which I appreciate. And giving people that option can make things more accessible. There are some games that will allow you to do press versus, like hold a button, or instead of consistently pressing it, or tap it once for a hold instead of mashing it. And so these are really cool things, but we'll talk more on it later. But it's really cool that we've already got this conversation going and starting to think. I'm going to give people another minute or two, and then we're going to get into the game. This music has me so chill already. This game is pure meditation. Also, go get water if you haven't already. Zero says, I'm here. I'm gonna be mostly AFK though. I will be listening. Well, you know what, Zero? Welcome. Hope you're having a chill and lovely Sunday. And glad you could stop in even if you're somewhat AFK. I'm gonna also ask that if you're someone who's been enjoying the content on this channel, or you've been enjoying these streams every Sunday, and you get something out of it, do consider donating if you're in a financial place to do so, and the link for my Patreon is in the description down below. Please only donate if you are in the financial place to do so. But anything that you do donate will go a long way to helping the channel expand and making sure that content like this continues to be made. But, yeah, with that said, and all the logistical data and stuff out of the way, let's get into Omno again. Let's rejoin the journey. Duke says, hi everyone, I did not catch the rest of the VOD from last week. What? Go double speed it right now. We'll be here. But it's nice to see you all on a Sunday once again. For sure, for sure. The gate. Did you miss any important story beats? We wrote on the back of another animal. This is kind of like the type of portal that I was trying to make with the stone structure, because I knew this game had them. We rode on one of these, the Polvukas. Leathery skin protects these creatures from the sun while the wind flow cools them down. They have an eerie, far-reaching call. Listen to the VOD in your left ear and today's stream in your right ear. Multitasking. Poor animal being used as paper. Here we go. And I think we're in a new area now. The Tor Desert. Ooh, what are you? You're a frog. No, you're a bug. Whoa. Was not expecting that. Malakas. These creatures can sense slight vibrations under the ground using their broad heads. Beyond the light, in the distance, there is so much to see and discover. I rest with my gaze averted, the refreshing water glinting at my feet. Oh my goodness, what are you? Tajiras. With their sensitive noses, they make noises that family members can hear over great distances. Oh, I got an achievement for that. Herder. I guess for bringing 3 of them together. That's cool. Well, that one was simple. What do we gotta do here? It looks like I need something to... place in that spot. I might as well get this one, since I'm here. Elephant, dino, giraffes. That's what they look like, right? The designs on these creatures are really fantastical. I forgot how chill this game was. Like, I know I just played it like last week. Oh, what did I do to you? Oh, that one looks like it's wrapped in vines of some sort. What do you get if you cross an elephant with a rhinoceros? Probably one of the deadliest creatures on the planet. but I'm sure you'll tell us the punchlines here. What is it? This is so cool. I'm walking on these, and because the thorns are so massive. Nice. Zero says, Elefino, though it works better if you say it out loud. It's supposed to sound like Elefino. Elefino. Oh, interesting. That's really funny, actually. Jaguar, hello and welcome. Hope you're having a chill and lovely Sunday. We've got the kitty in a box emote. The cat has popped out. Hope you're all having a lovely Sunday. I am having a lovely Sunday. I am hoping you are as well. I can't not have a lovely Sunday, given that I'm playing this game. Alright, I have a dash. I forgot how to dash. Okay. There we go. Every step means letting go. Turning away from the abundance of our world, severing my connections to it, requires a power I fear I do not possess. Maybe I'm not as strong as my people. Nevertheless, I forge on. What does this button do? Oh, that was fast. Okay. Jaguar says, I had a great game session with some folks on the server yesterday. Shout out to the Discord. Heck yeah, if you haven't joined the Discord, you definitely should. Jaguar hosted a game yesterday, which apparently went very well. Okay. And Jaguar says, I was finally able to play my instrument without braces for the first time in months. I wonder what kind of world awaits us within the light. When I step through the gate, I will take the memory of every blade of grass and every grain of sand with me, and honor the memory of our world and every creature within. That's really awesome, Jaguar, by the way. I'm sorry I didn't respond, like, right away when I said that. I was just, between the game and chat, I kind of got caught in between, wanting to look at both. What is that? Oh, one of you. Are you shiny? 'Cause, 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 hopefully I'll be able to run another one soon. I love playing with folks on the server, one of the healthiest places I've played in. That's really nice to hear that you guys have a healthy space, because gaming can be toxic sometimes, and I'm glad that's not happening on the server. Then again, with y'all over there, I kind of expect y'all to handle things with respect with one another. Jaguar says the game was Divination. It was advertised on the gaming channel. And no worries, Tara. I know you have a lot of things to balance. I mean, I'm just chilling here. So, not really feeling like a lot to balance right now, because this game is making it nice and simple and chill. Zero says, I've wanted to get into TTRPGs in my new town, but I'm nervous that it's going to be toxic. Yeah, toxicity in gaming is a big issue. And it really does tie into the accessibility conversation we're going to be having later as well. Where we gotta go? That's the exit. Welcome, Anarcho-Communist. Anarcho says, in the UK, the new Conservative Party Prime Minister who replaced Boris Johnson, who was forced to resign for partying during lockdown, is already being told to resign for ruining the economy. That's Truss, right? How do I get over there? How is Truss already getting called out? Like, does the UK not realize that it's slowly collapsing? It feels like it's just walking into its doom so slowly. How do I get up there? Or is that the exit? Because that looks more like an exit than... Do I have to hit a certain number of these in a certain amount of time or something? I do, don't I? And I just repeat on these... Okay. Lasers. Okay, that's the way to the exit. So what am I missing here? Well, you know what? Let me go check out the exit and see if I can get a different perspective. Come on. Okay, that's one. And then I'm gonna want to rotate this over here so I can teleport this way. No? Oh, okay. I overthought that. And I now aim the switch to the right. Oh, interesting. Which is why I now need to come back here and rotate to the left, which will activate that one again. And this is probably going to be, you're now leaving. Or about to be, you're now leaving. Yeah, that's straight up the exit. Alright. So, we need to find everything else first. Duke says the fact that they are that here, very first act caused the bond markets to go wild within seconds is telling how fragile the whole UK situation is. Though I'm still fuzzy on the details, it happened so fast. Anarcha says it may take a while for Liz Truss to resign, though, but it keeps saying on the news that she could be the shortest-serving Prime Minister in British history. Jaguar says the failing of capitalism in the system we have is that when things start to fail, people go into denial because of the rigidity of the system. Clearly something has to change, but too much resistance. Shark says they should just give power back to the king and speed up the collapse. Don't give them ideas, Shark. They would if they could. Oh, there's one I missed. Anarcho says, although the new king is often thought to hold progressive views, as he did things like talk about issues of climate change, or... Yeah, but it's like... I don't know, I can't understand anybody who would consider calling a monarch progressive. Alright, I clearly need that to raise up. Which means I need something here. But what do I... How do I activate that? Duke, Jaguar says, this is how the low standard is. All you have to do these days is just mention something and it's like, wow, they did a thing. It's unfortunately true. Duke says justification for monarchy is always grasping at straws. Anarcho says, I know, the institution of the monarchy is conservative. The king doesn't seem to be really regressive, but seems more progressive than the Conservative Party. That's kind of a sad state of affairs. I think that says more about the Conservative Party than it does about the monarchy. We might have what we need. And now we can rotate this back. Duke says the Conservative Party are a bunch of radical regressives at this point. Yeah, they're not conserving anything. So this should activate that, so I can get that one. But now I can take this with me to the other spot. Nope, I did not want to do that. Can I not take this one out now? Whoopsie. Okay. I wonder if I can get this one over to that spot. Now, will you let me run this all the way over there? Or is it going to disappear after a while? So far, so good. Shark said something I always found weird about conservatives is that they think having empathy is a bad thing. There's so much that goes into that. Probably a lot of toxic masculinity, probably a lot of if you provide empathy for people, then you have to actually take them into consideration. It's easier to dehumanize people. I'm overshooting that. Okay. There we go. And... no! Nah. close. And now we're missing one thing, which is likely one of those tapes. I have no idea where it could be. So we're just gonna roam around and try to find it while I catch up with chat. Anarcha says... I know the institution... No, a parent from conserving the rich and powerful during an economic crisis where working class people have struggled to afford necessities. The conservatives have been too busy helping the rich stay rich. Lion Shark says... You bleeding heart liberals want people to not go bankrupt to get health care? I mean, come on. Duke said the free market social Darwinism that they've become obsessed with as fascists have spent a lot of time mixing with them. There's that as well, for sure. Shark says social Darwinism is just racism with extra step. Pretty much. I think there's also prevalent in all of that this idea that they themselves did everything by themselves. And because we live in a society that emphasizes like hyper-individualism, the idea that they got help would be bad. The idea that there was an infrastructure or society that provided for them and gave them the resources and acknowledging that would be bad for their own self-image under the capitalist system. So they need to say, well, I did it, so why can't everybody else do it? And it ends up being one part survivorship bias and one part just delusion? Oh, I forgot about the meditation spot. There we go. Desert Master. So pretty. I think I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I think this is the first step. And then I can go over here and move this out of the way. Then I can come over here. Yeah, I see it now. I have to move the 2 blocks out of the way so I can reach the... Oh, too far. That's been moved out of the way. You are leaving the desert. Duke says it's important you don't forget about meditating. Yeah, meditating's important. One of the only ways to keep a level head, it seems, these days. Shark says, I was just talking to my dad about parenting, and he wouldn't accept that beating and yelling at your kids is bad. He went through it and came out, quote, fine. So everyone else is just sensitive. That's so sad, actually. It's sad that, it's easier to internalize and say that that was normal than accept that you went through some form of trauma and try to do better for another generation or for someone else. Zero said, I don't get the whole hyper-individualism angle. I had to do a lot by myself and it sucked. If I could have saved the kids that effort, I'd be glad to. They're not special for succeeding without anyone's help. They're assholes for denying help to people who need it. I completely and wholeheartedly agree with you there. Jaguar said, I'm so sorry, but it sounds like he's in denial and also lacks empathy for self and others. Flying Shark. I know he's your dad, so my bad if I'm stepping over boundaries. Yeah, I'm gonna parrot Jaguar there. Look at that view! Man, that would have been a hell of a thumbnail. Fun. I'm gonna just post that on the Discord in general. Or in gaming. In Gaming Works. That's a gorgeous view. Shark says, you're fine, Jaguar. He's a product of his time. Well, I picked the thumbnail I picked because we were in the desert. I couldn't have known that this view would happen. Let go, drift along, follow the path to the gate. Float? I don't get it. While falling, start to float? Oh, that's so cool. How does this game keep doing this to me? I keep getting surprised in good ways. Javik said, damn, I guess my psychic terror hypothesis is bunk after all. I mean, maybe. Or maybe I did it on purpose to throw you off the train. I clearly should have known, so that's my own failing. Yeah, that's fair. Zipline, it's very good at being consistently satisfying. It keeps adding new moves at just the right time to make you feel like you're learning and developing your powers as you're going through this pilgrimage. Like, it's conveying the storytelling through gameplay elements, and it's been really, really nice. Also, I want to be on this rock. Where am I headed to? Duke said I also want to be on that rock. That was a very pretty spot. That's not just a boulder, that's a rock. That's a SpongeBob reference, isn't it? Am I mistaken in that? Oh my god, it's so cute. It's so cute. Am I gonna... Okay. I need to test the game's limitations. For one moment. Can I go over here? I can. It probably killed me to do so, but I can. Maybe? Maybe? Nope, I'm good. This is peak airbending right here. They can call it light all they want. Tara has ascended. Man. Can you imagine, like, what that would feel like? Jaguar agrees with Duke on the zipline. Oh, man. Oh, we made it to another area. Yakap Mesa. New journal entry. I want to make you go. Round as lava. That was an achievement. Also, tell me about these little creatures. Balloonties. According to legend, these sky lamps showed the first staff bearers the way through the clouds. And stendions. Also known as float lilies, they utilize the wind to move from place to place. Why are you cute? Pitoris, attentive, watchful, quick to warn off territorial invaders by swooping and diving. All the creatures, all this beauty. I can hardly remember what we hope to find in the world beyond the gate. The grass below my feet that dances in the wind, the clouds above me, all of it's humble, aimless, yet beautiful. Zero says, oh my god, Tara, you can't just ask someone why they're cute. Oh, I just did. gather more energy. Oh, I got enough energy now. There's one. Zero says, I like that the energy just comes to you and you don't have to run around collecting it after it scatters. Yeah, that would be a little frustrating. And, I mean, it has a decent, like, range of picking them up. It still involves you getting near it, but I agree with you, having to pick up every single one would be a little bit frustrating. Here. What do we got? I feel the end of my journey approaching. Tired, I listen to the rustling trees and blooming meadows, moving unerringly with the wind. Everything is peaceful. Now I'm starting... you know what it also is? Every one of these powers has made it so that I have to look at the world and environment a little bit differently. And I appreciate that, because now I'm starting to look towards high spaces. Where can I get up so that I can float down to other places? And that's a slight change in perspective, and that's been happening pretty much consistently. You get the dash, I start looking at different gaps I can cross. You get the version of the dash that can teleport you, and you start looking out for those little portal things like these. And so you're constantly reevaluating what the environment looks like and how you respond to it as you're developing your skills. That's cool. Shark says magnetic staff bearer. Certainly seems that way. Alright, so what am I missing? I have the meditation spot. Oh, there's an orb over there. Looks like I can climb up this way. Jay, thank you so much for the donation. $5 donation from Jay. Hope you're having a chill and lovely Sunday. Just stopping by to drop my boy Lincoln off at daycare. Take good care of him. I will do what I can. I will in bad taste, make the joke that I won't take him to any theaters. Seriously, Jay, thank you so much for the donation. So what's left? Looks like I have one orb over there. Now how do I get to that one? And I see that. I'm gonna get that first, because that doesn't show up on the map. The staff bearers guided our searching people, constantly pointing towards the light. But when I look back at the world we've abandoned, I see so much yet to discover. I wonder if I could... No. That's too far. Where's a high point that I could get to get to that one? Or is there a way to climb that? Hello and welcome, Perry. Hope you're having a chill and lovely Sunday. Glad to see you here. Oh, is that... That works too. That is not what I wanted you to do, but that does work. Perry the platypus. Here we go. Mesa Master. So, how do we feel about potentially having this topic early? Because I'm gonna be real with you. Looking at the achievements, I have 2 areas left in the game at this point in time. And I'd prefer not to be having the conversation when we're going through the last area and into, like, the conclusion. I think 2 areas gives us enough time to go through that before we head back into Staxel. I'd kind of prefer to have the conversation during this game. I don't want to have it during Staxel, David. Really's cool with you? So yeah, I touched on this briefly at the beginning of stream. Duke says, I enjoy Tara streams because she has good ideas such as now. Fair enough. So I touched on this at the beginning of the stream, but I wanted to talk a little bit today about the idea of accessibility in gaming. And this has to do with talking about topics on difficulty, topics on finances, topics on physical ability, topics on how one designs a game and who one designs a game for. And so part of what brought this up is the fact that this game Omno for the most part, seems to be fairly accessible. And I was thinking a lot about difficulty in particular, and I'd mentioned it last week. Not every game needs to be Dark Souls. Not every game needs to be super complicated. Not every game needs to be a massive gameplay loop that requires an exorbitant amount of time. And so I kind of wanted to throw the question out there of, like, what types of accessibility do you all, or accessibility issues do you all notice in gaming? Sharek says, I watched a video on gaming and accessibility a while ago. If I find it, I'll put it in the Discord. Yeah, please do. But there's a lot of issues where I feel like a lot of developers feel pressure to make their games extremely difficult. Oh, there's the symbol I need. The A-looking thing, the C with the line, and... Okay. That one's correct. A-looking thing. There we go. Oh, am I now gonna have to go up here and do the same thing? I with 2 dots. Okay. Sorry, I just want to solve this puzzle. Jalek says, personally, I'm not a fan of Dark Souls, but difficulty is a pretty nuanced thing. What do you mean by that? Like, there's such a huge focus on difficulty and dexterity, if that works. Yes, and that's part of what I'm getting at. Like, first of all, when it comes to gaming, there is definitely a level of some people play video games specifically to test their ability to be precise and to press the buttons and accomplish a certain task, and they want that challenge. And I'm not taking that away from people. I don't have an issue with, you know, the creation of more difficult modes for people. If that's how people want to have their fun, then by all means. That's the top one. Okay. But your game should probably have the ability for people to access it and play it regardless. I just blanked out on what that solution was. Zero says, I also find that especially in games with a high difficulty level, the community around that game is really gatekeeping and gross. I agree, and a lot of that bleeds into certain forms of toxic masculinity within communities of gaming, and a lot of people buy into that as, like, the norm. Like, that's just how the culture is, just deal with it. And especially when it gets into competitive gaming, it can get really, really, really toxic. Jalek says, my sis would defend the difficulty of Dark Souls to her dying breath, though, to be honest. It's a really good exercise in endurance for her. That's great, but what if somebody wants to experience Dark Souls and can't keep up? Either they're new to gaming, or they don't have the time and energy to put in the number of hours that it takes to win an endurance match with an enemy that is constantly able to defeat you in only a few mistakes? What if you are someone who physically cannot keep up with the demands of the button presses? Just because you enjoy that difficulty, and I enjoy difficulty in my video games. I have a lot of fun with a game where, like Cuphead, for example, where I could sit down and I can just constantly retry a boss over and over and over again until I get that perfect run and get that A rank or S rank. I'm the kind of person who does the same kind of thing in Sonic the Hedgehog, for example. You know, a lot of these games, I have really enjoyed the difficulty factor, and it has made the games something that I cherish as a challenge to myself. Shark said when Cuphead and Crash 4 came out, everyone was saying these Dark Souls of their respective genres. Well, I mean, Cuphead is a fairly difficult game. There's a lot to keep track of, bullet hells in general, and I'm not saying that... Well, you know what, Cuphead is more or less a bullet hell. Kind of have that whole thing, and Cuphead does have an easy mode. But Cuphead's easy mode doesn't let you face off with the final bosses, and doesn't let you complete the story. And that game is an interesting one as an example, because on some level, what they want you to do is play through easy mode, and then go back and challenge yourself again. But I'm going to be real with you, I have an issue with the game even using the term easy mode, because what's easy for one person isn't easy for everyone. If you're going to do a difficulty thing, do it on a slider. Allow the person to customize their game. Dead Cells actually does a good job of this, and I've played through much of that. But Dead Cells actually has sliders where you can now determine how strong enemies are based on certain things so that you can access the end game and keep playing through the game. And they don't take away achievements for that either. And I really appreciate that. That's something that can incentivize people to want to play the game more, to get better at it, to hone their craft in the game. Because if I pick up a game and I'm someone who's kind of new to gaming and I can't even keep track of the buttons and I'm just dying in the first area, I'm missing out on so much. And that's not even counting aspects of games like what I mentioned earlier, where there are certain things like mashing a button that literally cannot be done by some people, or that is very difficult to do for some people. Holding a button for an extended period of time can be difficult for certain people. So having the ability to have press and release, or having the ability to do a button combination like what Bug Fables allows you the option to do, and giving people alternative options and not penalizing them for it, I think is a really great method of allowing people to enjoy these games. Did I mess this up? Am I landing on the clouds? Am I going to Cloudland? Yeah, I totally messed that up. I'm gonna check out, and if you don't want to have sliders in your game, just call the difficulties 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, and 4 star, and 5 star. Like, you don't need to have this label of what's easy and what's normal. Duke says, I watch people like you as someone who never got any gaming skill because no access growing up. Yeah, that's a huge factor. Jalek says, my personal opinion would be that it depends on the kinds of emotion the game is going for, but difficulty needs to be in a certain sweet spot to evoke that certain feeling. Here's the thing, though. That sweet spot is different for every player, so let the player find that difficulty for themselves. Jaguar says, sorry, y'all, I'll be AFK for the rest of the session. No worries, Jaguar. Thanks for stopping in, and glad you're still AFKing and checking in. Zero says, I play games for the story and immersion and constantly losing because it's hard breaks that. Yeah, and also there are times where I will look at a game and I will be like, that's a really fascinating game. That's so interesting. I want to play that. It's a great Metroidvania. It has this, it has that. And then it's like the achievements are like, beat the game with no damage under an hour. And it's like, whoa. Like, I don't want to do that every single time. I don't even know if I'm going to enjoy this game. And it's just a lot to demand of people. And it's not to say people couldn't speedrun the game on their own time, but to set that as, because the way I see achievements at least is, yes, they are achievements. They're things that you're meant to accomplish in the game, but they're things that are supposed to be the goals of the game. And I think that we lean too much into perfecting the craft of gaming to the point where sometimes it isn't fun anymore. Sometimes it's so difficult that it's not even fun. Sometimes it's anxiety inducing, or sometimes it's tedious, or sometimes it's just grindy. And I don't think that's good game design. Oh yeah, I totally had messed that up before. Oh. It. Shark said the channel Game Maker's Toolkit does a lot of great videos on game mechanics and how to design better games. Jalek said, I'm a huge fan of a game called Pathologic 2, which is a really difficult game, but it's difficult for a reason. The entire goal is to make you feel powerless in the face of catastrophe. Yes, but what makes somebody feel powerless is different. I get the idea of powerlessness, but if I happen to be someone who's a skilled gamer who has dealt with gaming my entire life, I'm going to have a different feeling of helplessness in a game versus someone who literally has no chance to win. And Pathologic has the luck factor involved, right? It's dice rolls. Sometimes you lose the game. Sometimes you're not going to have a chance. But that's when it comes to resource management, that can also be a huge time sink. Duke had said, how is that an even and easy mode? I think you were referring to Cuphead with that. Jalek says, it had a whole little controversy at the start of it because they didn't want to implement difficulty sliders. Duke said, it's not getting the whole game unless you pass the test. Exactly. And it's like, what's the point of denying somebody access to that? Jalek said, in the end, they went for a slider with a big warning before letting you do it, that playing with sliders might mess up the experience, which I think is a good compromise. Duke says, Stellaris has a lot of granular setup that I think works well to hone the difficulty and challenge. Zero said, God of War did the button mashing thing. It made sense why they did it, but it was also kind of messed up. Jalek said, my rant's over. I'll let everyone else talk now. I just ignored the achievements. A lot of people can't just ignore the achievements for certain reasons. There are people who are completion minded and will fixate until they accomplish what the game set out to. I like to complete games. I get a certain thrill out of completing games, but there are some games where I look at the achievements and I'm like, this is not worth my time. In fact, this is an absolute waste of my time. Blue Varus, widely respected for their beauty, produces a gas which they emit when overstimulated. Shark said, I started a new game with a lot of stealth mechanics and I found myself saving and reloading to have a perfect run instead of just enjoying the game. That's the stuff I'm talking about. And part of that, I think, is tied to the way achievements are done. If you go into the game and it says, okay, you have to beat the game on master difficulty and you have to accomplish it in under 2 hours and you have to not get caught once the entire game to get this achievement. What I feel like that causes a lot of people to do is exactly what you just described, Shark. A lot of people will look at guides, especially if they don't have a lot of time available, and they will try to do the perfect run on their first playthrough, instead of just playing the game and having fun. But, you know, this isn't the only types of accessibility issues in gaming. There's finances and cost. When it comes to competitive gaming, there's the fact that you can get, can have issues where even a small frame rate advantage can make a huge difference. You can have situations where, you know, if you're able to afford the RTX 3090 or 4090, which is now out, if you can afford that and you can afford the best PC with the highest specs and everything else, if you can afford a, you know, 4K monitor that can run in 144 hertz, you're gonna get certain competitive advantages. They have controllers that give you the extra buttons on the back, the paddles, like the Xbox Pro controllers. And those are advantages that one can have when playing certain games in competitive modes, to the point where some people can't even keep up. And there reaches a point where you just keep losing and you just don't want to play anymore, because you realize that it's kind of stacked against you. Not to mention what I just saw Shark mention, the microtransactions and the freemium games that, you know, say things like, oh, well, if you just pay a few dollars, you can get this cosmetic, you're just supporting the game. But then they look out for the people who have, who they can harvest basically as cash cows and, you know, the whales, as I believe they call them. And they'll just take as much money as possible from these few people to pay for the game. And it's oftentimes people who really can't afford it, who just find it to be the social space for them and their friends, and so they want the cosmetics, they want the things. I feel like the whole thing preys on people. And it's something that I wish more people talked about in these gaming spaces, because I feel like there is a connection between accessibility and things like difficulty and how competitive these games get and how the gameplay loop is constantly I'm riding on a crab. Sorry. Wait, aggression management? That's an achievement? How do I keep getting these achievements? Hello and welcome, Sam. Hope you're having a chill and lovely Sunday. Glad you're able to make it. We were just having our conversation on accessibility in gaming. We were talking about accessibility and difficulty, as well as accessibility and finance, as well as physical accessibility. The whole combination of different ways that video games either are or are not accessible. Sam says, I started a response video script for a friend who's been targeted for harassment by Project Veritas. Yeah, I saw you post that on Twitter, and I honestly feel for your friend, because that's rough. So, good on you, and thank you for sticking up for your friends and defending, oh, whoa. I just... And I missed. I also think it's a fine thing, with some of the stuff you were talking about, Jalix, like with Pathologic, to say this is how the developer intended the game and the type of experience that the developer wants to see happen in their game. But, you know, it's also like with a book, for example, right? If you're reading a book, you're not always going to take away the same message that the author intended. Sometimes you're going to want to experience it differently. You know, there's plenty of books, for example, that will tell two stories, and they'll juxtapose those two stories. You know, chapter one, or the odd chapters are one story, and the even chapters are another story that eventually converge, or have meaning that are meant to be parallel. And I know there's plenty of people who would prefer to read that story, for example, by just reading the odd chapters first, to follow through that narrative, and then follow through and read the even chapters. So I think, and I know that's not the same thing as difficulty, but there's a level where, when it comes to gaming, that I think people need to have the ability to create their own sense of gaming. They need to be able to create their own understanding of what accomplishes the goal that the author had intended. Because again, when it comes to games like Pathologic, if you're someone with an anxiety disorder and you just want to experience the game, that's going to make it very, very difficult. And if you're someone who, for example, happens to find the level of difficulty too anxiety-inducing, maybe you can lower it to a level that's not super easy, but one that allows you to have maybe more of a chance. Jalix says, I think that being prescriptive that way might limit the way art can be. I think that allows... can you explain that? Actually, I don't want to assume I'm understanding that completely. In my search for freedom, I tethered myself to a false ideal, losing sight of what lay in front of me. Clarity comes, but it comes too late. My pilgrimage must continue. So I've already got that one. Perry said, I hope more all open source developed games might help with addressing accessibility. That's a huge factor, right? Because if you can have people edit and read and play around with the game itself who are interested enough in the game, and you can do that kind of open source coding where you can just ask people like, hey, could you edit this game so that this is different or that's different? I feel like you could get a much better outcome. Jalix says, like, some of the games I've played are outright hostile to the player. Pathologic is, for example, and I think having games like that's important. The gate's light has blinded my people. Even the staff bearers themselves have lost sight of the true path. Soon this world will be but a memory. Interesting. And I don't know if we can have that so it works for every person. But you can have hostility towards the player at a level the player can handle. And if you're someone who can't handle the level of hostility that a game is openly offering, and you'd like to put it at a level that is what you can handle, then I don't think that takes away the experience. And honestly, the only difference is that if you're a player of the game who can handle what was the, I guess, authorial intent, then do so. That's fine. You don't lose out on that experience. But what's hostile to you, Jalix, is not hostile towards other people, per se. There might be some people who even say that Pathologic isn't hostile enough and want a harder slider to make things more difficult. I see people all the time who modify games like Hollow Knight and literally, like, create even harder super bosses. And I just look at them like, I mean, I've 100%ed Hollow Knight. I've beaten the whole Coliseum in Hollow Knight. And I look at some of those playthroughs, and I'm just like, how do you even do this? How do you even manage what you're managing right now? Like, I don't even think my fingers could physically keep up with what they're demanding of, like, some of the super bosses that have been modded into the game to make it even harder. So I don't think not having the difficulty slider is necessary, or not having the ability to adjust the game to your own needs is a bad thing. And I think it just provides more accessibility, more opportunity to grow. And I think it also offers people the opportunity that if they played it on one difficulty, got the mechanics, and could handle it, that they then could theoretically move on to a different difficulty and try it again. Zero said, it's like spicy food. I like my food to be very spicy, but I recognize not everyone can handle the levels of spiciness I enjoy, so if I cook for others, I make it so that others can enjoy my cooking. That's a great example, Zero. That is a perfect example. Especially given how many difficulty sliders in games base themselves around food. That's actually a really, like, they'll call it spicy difficulty or whatever. No, that's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Jalix said, I was just fixating on the way I personally interact with these types of things. Like, if I had known the Pathologic had a difficulty slider from the beginning, I would have ruined it for myself. Why would you have ruined it for yourself? Just so I understand. Would you have gone on an easier difficulty? Oh no, I know what Nuzlocke is, Sam. Nuzlocke is when you play through a Pokemon game, and if your Pokemon faints, it's dead. You put it in either the PC or you release it. And that's it. You can't use that Pokemon ever again. And you can only catch one Pokemon per route, or per town, and it's always the first one that you get. Some people do things like a non-duplication clause, so you can't get multiple of the same Pokemon. Like, we invent the challenges to make the games harder. We've been doing that forever. We don't need the developer or the company to tell us and be like, this is how you should play the game. How do I get up to that gate? Jalek says, yes, I would have made it easier, which would have prevented a very gut-punching moment at the end of the game. I mean, part of Pathologic's gameplay loop is supposed to be that you lose. You lose something. Like, you don't ever get the perfect run. Which I do appreciate from a design standpoint, right? Like, it doesn't have to be a game... And honestly, I wish more games would do that. Having a perfect run is next to impossible, and if you do, you got very lucky. But the thing is there's still a heavy toll and demand on a player to be able to handle what's being thrown at you. So much light surrounds us, and so little of it is evident to us. It's part of every creature and every stone. It has always been with us, but somewhere along the way we began sailing against the wind. Oh no. That's not good. Sam said, right, I'm just pointing out the parallel between the Nuzlocke and Zero Spicy Food analogy. Yeah, no, it's a really good analogy, and, it's true. You know, if people want to play Pokemon, there should be an ability to come up with ways to make the game more difficult for oneself if one wants to. But it shouldn't be something forced on every player who just wants to have a chill experience. Like, I know there's people who want the ability, for example, to take off the EXP or the EXP share at this point, and Jalek says, I suppose I'm sort of masochistic when it comes to a game like that, but not everyone likes games that way. It's not only a matter of like, it's a matter of, can you even handle that? If you're someone, for example, okay, who has a stressful life, you go to work every day and you're dealing with losing in a game and you're really stressed out all the time. I mean, you're already stressed out rather from work and life. Do you necessarily want to go play a game that's additionally going to stress you out more? And stress you out to a point where you're not even having fun. Believe me, there's games where I get that same kind of masochism, and I thoroughly enjoy it. I enjoyed what Pathologic offered, even though I never finished it. And I kind of enjoyed the punishment. I just didn't necessarily, for me personally, enjoy how strong the punishment was sometimes. Oh my god, I figured it out. Crap. Oh, I just went around it. Okay, this is a nice test of all your abilities and stringing them together. Nope. Not what I wanted to do. also just think that there's a certain joy in a game like this. You know, and I said this last time when we were talking, but like, this game is relaxing. This game has been a journey. You know, I have been exploring things. I've been just enjoying myself. And I don't know, sometimes in more difficult games, I don't always get that joy anymore. Like, I don't feel like I'm exploring a new world. I just feel like I'm in a grind. And, you know, it's an interesting thing because I recently watched a video. I don't even remember who did it, unfortunately, but they were talking about how a lot of games have started to reach this mindset where gaming has become work. Especially like grinding games or games that are designed to keep you constantly playing the game for an extended period of time. Where it's like, they want to keep you hooked on the game. So you get like daily tasks that you have to perform if you want to keep up in the game. And so there's a topic of like your daily chores. And people have actually been talking about this, like how there's like a certain concept of doing your dailies and your daily chores in a video game. And I don't know. Heights Master, nice. Now we can leave this area. Shark says another thing with difficulty in games is how they ask you to pick a difficulty mode before you even know what the game's like. That's another thing, and the fact that you get locked into difficulty modes. And you know what? Another thing that I don't like is when the hard mode or the more difficult modes are locked behind beating the game once. If I saw the gameplay, and I've played games like that before, and I want to experience a difficult experience, let me load your game into the harder difficulty. And give me the option to lower it if I find it too difficult. Harry says, games are kind of like driving to me. Sometimes I just want to cruise through and go get a feel for it, then actually challenge myself later. Yeah, that's real. Jalek says, that sort of design just sucks. It's based on manipulative psychology that wants you to keep playing for playing's sake. Yeah, and they put in these long grinds, and then if they make them social, then your social group's in it, and then you're invested. Sam said, I forget the author, but there's a really good old written essay from like the 1930s about how work-life balance turns leisure time into a second job. Yeah, that's a fair analysis. And it ends up leading to people also multitasking in gaming a lot as well. And I know for some people it's nice, for example, to just like have that tactile feeling on your hands of touching a controller and the buttons when you're doing something else. I do that sometimes. Like if I'm in a certain thing that I know I can handle in terms of attention, I am going to stop talking for a moment. That's a dragon. That is a really pretty dragon. Am I gonna ride on the dragon? I'm gonna go riding on the dragon. Dokalore? Early carvings of the staff bearers show them with these beings riding in harmony, what they've been missing for countless generations. So cool. Antlery dragon. Yeah, some dragons have like antler horns, so it makes sense. So cool. Goodbye, dragon friend. Thank you. The exalted achievement. So cool. The pilgrimage. Fluamouth Cliffs. So cool. Meditation spot. Another consequence of capitalism in gaming is developers will release unfinished games and put in base game content as DLC. Yeah, that is another major issue that is happening in the gaming industry. And while a different conversation, that has to do with crunch times and not giving the developers enough time to get what they need to get done. And often over-promising. Tripolids. Formerly creatures of the air, they developed legs for protection and grew gradually taller over time. Now the wings are purely ornamental. Those are long legs. So cool. That is a Podracore. They harvest their energy while slowly floating over fertile grounds and shed their skin by moving through trees. Also, it looks like we only have one creature left. The tall spires stand abandoned, their banners still waving in the wind. The call to journey onwards like a distant echo. We had everything, and we did not see it. Blinded by the light. Nope, I'm not gonna make that. Sam says a management strategy that dominated the software industry from the earliest days. Guy wrote a book telling managers to purposefully give programmers half the necessary time to complete a project. Yeah, well, that's capitalism for you. You know, I've also known people in my life that have had a lot of difficulty in terms of gaming because they've never played it or didn't have the luxury or time to play games, who really struggle with the amount of buttons in modern gaming. And I think dexterity is a huge factor. Going back a little bit to what we were talking about before. Sam says the reason given was so that during the latter half of the project they could gaslight the programmers to make them feel like shit for missing the deadline. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. This is why you pull the Star Trek engineering trick. Always tell the developer or always tell the person that you're working for that it's going to take twice as long as it's going to take. Ooh. Ooh, am I about to have fun? Yeah, like I said, yeah, that's probably how my perception is influenced a lot too. I've been playing games for as long as I remember, so I can decently manage what most games throw at me. My position would probably look very different if I didn't have that experience. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, it's also very, you know, intuitive to me. Like, if I pick up a game, for example, I often get frustrated with tutorials, personally. Because part of me is used to growing up in a time period where you either read the instruction booklet that was provided in the game, like in the box, which they don't even have anymore, of course, or you end up just kind of fumbling through the buttons. and you eventually figure out what you can do. And I know that tutorials are super important for gaming. Like, I would never advocate to get rid of tutorials. Making them optional, maybe, a little more often. But, you know, if you've played one Metroidvania, for example, like, you know what another Metroidvania is more or less going to look like and feel like. Unless there's very specific, game-specific mechanics that you really need to know. But for the most part, like, a lot of games play very similar. I know which button's going to be the jump button 9 out of 10 times. Like, I don't need a game to explain that to me because I've been playing games for so long. There's an intuitive nature to it. And, but that's not everybody's experience, so I try to think about it from kind of that least... Wait, what? What is going on? Okay, that thing is literally, like, killing me somehow. Damn. I feel like this last section... How do? Oh. I feel like the solution is to have it on this end, but what do I do with that last part? Because this area has no protection. Oh. I see it. Got it. Let me catch up on chat. Jalek says, Sam says, thinking that would make them more productive, research shows it is the opposite effect. Demoralized workers are less productive. That's always the case, yeah. It's dehumanizing, the way they treat gaming workers, especially. Perry says, talking about gaming reminds me of gamification and how it's been essentially applied to life, work in general. Yeah, there's definitely an aspect of that as well. Shark says, I've seen people try to play games for the first time and they had trouble moving the sticks separately. Yeah, you know, I think a lot of people who take it for granted, like, that you can, move the stick separately and have learned that over time to move the camera and to move the player and all that, they forget that if you grew up on an NES controller or you grew up on like a Super Nintendo, you just had a D-pad. It wasn't until the PlayStation 1 and that you really started getting that, you got the first DualShock controller where you had the two sticks. And that was really new to people. And even then, you would control the cameras with the left and right bumper. Sagriffs. They save vital energy by moving as a flock, forming a pattern for greater lift. Well, here you found all the majestic creatures in this world. I mean, Perry, it's fine if it's a little off topic. Like, we're talking about a lot of issues that affect us, and while this may not be the, strictest definition of politics, to me, there is a politics of accessibility and how we choose to prioritize things. And part of that is getting a game to be developed as soon as possible without these features in mind. The gate, the symbol of a new beginning, appears like a sad farewell. Like, Nintendo is notoriously bad, for example, with accessibility features. Strangely enough, Microsoft and in some cases Sony have actually been much better about accessibility features in their games than Nintendo is. Nintendo kind of has the attitude of, we're making games the way we want to make games, the end. We do not care about accessibility. To the point that I think it's actually ruined a number of very good games, personally. I'm missing, like, one thing. Okay. We'll find it. And I agree with you that, Jalix, that a lot of tutorials can be really hand-holdy, and it really does suck. You like how Factorio did their tutorials. They more explain the basics and gently nudge you towards learning it yourself and how help is needed. Il says, hope you all enjoy the stream. I'm glad you were able to stop in for a little bit, Il. Hope you're having a chill Sunday. Shark said, I wish more games would allow you to remap buttons. Occasionally, a game will have really unintuitive setup, and it's hard to get used to. Yeah, no, that is definitely a thing. Like, for me, also, any game that puts the jump button on the right, or puts it, I guess where circle or square would be on the Xbox, instead of where the cross is on the Xbox, the PlayStation controller, and any game that, there's the last thing I need. Any game that uses the B button, for example, for certain actions, I'm like, come on, like, let me just remap this to a thing that feels comfortable to me. So I'm with you there. Jalix says, I haven't really played a game that didn't let you remap the buttons. Is that still that common? Yeah, it's really common. I'm gonna be real with you. There's no way to change the buttons on this game. And I know this was made by one developer, but This game doesn't even have a volume slider. Cliffmaster. I do not regret my pilgrimage, not a single step or stumble. I have seen so much light that the journey itself has become an arrival. Still, I must know what became of my people. And I mean, there's third-party tools that you can use always to change buttons. But either some of them are pay or some of them can lower latency and response time. And if you're not computer literate enough to know how to get these programs, it can make things really inaccessible. Implementing key mapping is really easy in most game engines. You often don't even have to do your own code for ones like Godot. We are now leaving the final area. I think Unity 2 on PC, there's not really an excuse. Also, somehow I messed that up. It's a little funny. Il says, still here for a little while. More LOL. What's going to be the next game? You're gonna find out. We're gonna find out what's gonna be the next game when we are in Stack. Shark says, I had a game controller where the right bumper was broken and I couldn't play some games because they require it. Yeah, and if you can't afford a new controller... Il said some mice come with software where you can customize the mouse buttons. They have more than the left and right clicks. But again, you have to pay for those features. Shark says, overall, not a fan of this capitalism thing. No, but it's also interesting how something like gaming that's considered to be such a, you know, different topic, like from the usual politics, we're still somehow coming back to capitalism, right? Like, Jalix says, I couldn't imagine playing a lot of games without third and fourth mouse buttons. To be honest, they're really handy. You know, also, Jalix, you were talking about Factorial. Like, I'm not a big... Oh, what even genre would you consider Factorial? Strategy? Like, I am not good at those type of games. Those are not my thing. I don't want to resource manage. I resource manage every day in my life. I don't enjoy that. But when it comes to games like that, I require a strong tutorial. Because sometimes it can get overwhelming. Like Stellaris, for example, it's like there's 100 different things to keep track of. And you're just like, what the hell is this? What the hell is that? What the hell is this? And sometimes it can just be exhausting. Okay, how do I get back? That's one way to get back. Gaelic said, I'd say it's its own niche. It even created its own subgenre of games. It's a logistics game, mostly. Oh, this is so cool. No. Shark said I posted the gaming accessibility videos in the Discord. Here's a playlist of them. Nice. Thank you for posting that. This ending is so majestic. It's really bringing all your skills together, too. Jalek said, but yeah, games like Factorio definitely need a good tutorial. I think Factorio handles it well in that regard. That's good to hear. I think we're at the end, so I'm gonna pull back from the topic so we can just take in this moment and enjoy it. We've been on this whole journey. We got to see all the creatures of this land. We got to explore so much. We got to ride on the backs of a dragon and other creatures. And we're all trying to find what's been going on with the staff bearers. Are we gonna finally find out? Enter those who seek the light. For a long time I have lingered here, filled with doubt. But I will fulfill my duty. I take this last step, hoping the portal will grant me the peace and freedom I seek. Achievement unlocked: the Ascendant. Oh, come on. Why can't the green thing go? Now I'm sad. Aww. So we didn't go through. We decided to stay in this realm and... So we heeded the message of... Or the player character heeded the message of what those things had said, that there was so much more to learn about the world and so much more to grow with. And so the player character that you're playing as stayed, but as Jalix mentioned, we as the player went through the portal. And that separates us from the journey that this player character had gone through. That is our moment of separating and leaving the player character and moving forward and entering into the light, which leads to the next world, which presumably would be ending the game. That's really well done. This game has been nothing short of a beautiful experience. I love when games are able to tie gameplay mechanics, like ending the game, or I don't know off the top of my head right now, but when you're able to take gameplay mechanics and you're able to use it as part of the story and interlock gameplay with story and interlock narrative with the gameplay mechanics in such a way, especially very stereotypical gameplay mechanics like entering into the world, leaving the world. When you're able to do that in a seamless manner, like this was just done, it's so impressive to me, and it's so beautiful. Gangle says, I really like the score. It's gorgeous, and I feel like I'm ruining it by talking over it, but it's probably on YouTube. Shark says the real Omno was the friends we made along the way. Yeah, kind of feels that way. But we got to go on a journey. We got to go on the adventure. We experienced that. And so this character, instead of going off to the world of light, decided to stay with the creatures of the land and find more to discover. But we had to go through because it was our time. And maybe the goal of the player character the entire time was to get us through that portal, not themselves. I just really love that. Jalix says, I wasn't really a fan of the gameplay, but the world was pretty great. Also, how the little text boxes hinted at this. Yeah, I mean, it did manage to tell you that. What didn't you like about the gameplay? I found the idea that you could just explore the world and try to find the collectibles and solve puzzles to be really enthralling. You don't have to get everything if you don't want to, but you have to just get 3 of the orbs in any given location and you can move forward to the next. So if you want to keep it open, you can. I actively chose to seek out everything because that's my type of gameplay. But I am also a huge fan of games that you have to kind of fill off a checkbox, you know? Collect 100% in an area and move forward. That makes me feel good. Or you're not a fan of platformers? That's fair. I grew up on platformers, so to me that's everything. And I wouldn't even argue this is a platformer. It's just an exploratory adventure. There wasn't much platforming. A little bit. You grew up on City Builders? Yeah, we're opposites in that regard. I absolutely hated SimCity when I was growing up, for example. Like, I grew up with SimCity 2000 for, like, all the way back in the day, and it was just not a good experience. I just didn't enjoy it. Like, it's too much work. I want to explore an environment. I want to be tactile. I want to experience things. I don't want to be overlording over a city and planning things and trying to make things work and managing resources and budgets. That, again, that's too much like work for me. But I mean, that's why there's multiple kinds of games. Your first game ever was Anno 1701. My first game ever was the original Super Mario Brothers for the NES. So yeah, I don't even know what, like, really what Anno is, to be honest. Like, I've never played it. Shark says, I started off with racing games. Jalix says, that's a very old game for me, at least. That game is older than me. But yeah, it was the first game I played. I played it with a bunch of my cousins. I was terrible at it. I died to Goombas in the first levels. I was, like, really young at the time. And I guess I think about that from time to time when I think about accessibility. Like, a lot of people have real difficulty in 1-1 in the original Super Mario Brothers. Either they end up walking into the first Goomba because they haven't figured out they can jump if they're a new player, or the first pit gets them, or by the time you get into later parts of the level, where you start getting more of the complicated platforming mixed with enemies, like, it's real simple. Like, I can breeze through 1-1 like it's nothing now, but the first time I ever played it when I was really, really young, and the first time I had a controller in my hands, it was hard. I also have things where, so many people don't know there's a run button in Mario. True! Also, racing games are like another polar opposite here. I enjoy racing games. I grew up on F-Zero. That was fun. But yeah, I really enjoyed this journey with y'all, and I think this is a good place to take a break, and when I come back, we'll pop back into Staxel. I also grew up with a little bit older, with Diddy Kong Racing, for example, and Mario Kart 64. That stuff was nice. I'd go over a neighbor's house and play those games there. Okay. Well, we're gonna build our little monument to Omno in about 5-ish minutes when we come back from break. When we'll build our portal to the next game, and we'll get the announcement as soon as we're done with the monument to this game. I'm thinking, keep it simple. It's just going to be the staff with the little green guy sitting on top of it. That makes the most sense to me. And we'll just put it right next to the portal, and we'll keep it real simple. Because this game was very simple in the best way possible. Shark says, I'm young. I started with Sonic Unleashed and Need for Speed on the PS2. I started with Sonic on the Sega Genesis. My first Sonic game was Sonic 1. There was Spin Dash. But yeah, thank you all for taking this journey with me, and I will be back in a couple minutes, and I'll leave you with this music, and then we'll work our way back to Staxel. go. And we're back. Well, we just traveled through the portal, everyone, so. We are back. Alright. Let's activate fly mode. Let's go find our... See, that was I forget the name of that game, actually. The one with the bird. First, the person transformed into a bird. That was a weird one. It was a good one, though. Is there, like, a Terraverse now? What do you mean by that? There's been a Terraverse. We've been traveling to all these game worlds. This was from Carto. The little compass and the sailboat. Beware of the Terraverse. We're already in the Terraverse. This is the Terraverse. They're very different. Carto was such a cute game. This was the portal for Night in the Woods, which followed the train tracks all the way around. Into a broken minecart. And all the way down into the mine shaft. This was last year, by the way. So that was like our little... You weren't there for Night in the Woods? I thought you were. We have our airship. And for the new people who have not become acquainted with this, there is a little secret in the sky. This is how we got into our first game world, the Messenger. This was the wormhole. The Chill Sunday stream started out with just Axel. And it went like that for a good long while, and then it reached the point where we'd more or less beaten the game. I built this ship here, which took several weeks, and then we made a portal to another game, which was the Messenger. And the Messengers... little totem for beating it was this. Our little demon friend from the game. Horrible. This was the game with that old man's journey and the letter. we made his backpack and walking stick. And the letter was the portal. Under hero. Of course, we have Bug Fables, which was last week. I'm really happy with how these three came out. And this was the portal for Bug Fables. And the B game. Old Man's Journey with the walking stick was like half a stream long. So I'm not surprised you don't remember that one. And this was our little portal to the game we just played. It was supposed to be one of those rounded stone portals, but didn't really kind of get that vibe. I think it'll look better if I did that. Kinda can't round things in this game, but I think that's pretty decent. And so, let's make a little staff bearer with our little green friend on top. Did I miss any games? I can just check my thumbnail because I have every game. No, Timeline. Timeline I missed. Timeline's in town. The toilet, there's a reason there's a toilet house. There's a character in Stoxo that really is obsessed with toilets. This guy, Tom T. So we built him a toilet house. Yeah, here was Timeline. We had the little cat companion and the portal. I'm just taking a quick look around at where we've been on this journey through Chill Sunday streams. I'm just gonna check if there's any I missed game-wise. But I'm pretty sure that was everything. There we go. Let's see, we had Timeline, Parto, Bug Fables, Night in the Woods, B Game. Yep, that's been pretty much it. They've been going for like 2 years right now. This is the 73rd stream, I believe. We did have a bit of a hiatus because of my surgery and stuff, but yeah, it's been a while. Let me get a picture of that walking stick so I can just make it. It's gonna be simple. Omno. Alright. Okay, can you please select the right window? Thank you. Okay. We need blocks. Kind of a dark brown color. Honestly, we could just use this dark textured wood. That would probably do it. Oh, we can make it a little bit bigger. Than it should be, because obviously if we did it normal size, then we wouldn't be able to see it. But if we kind of do this, and then what I want to do is see if I can use a ceiling tile. Of some sort. Maybe this'll work. No. Okay, one sec. That works. And this can kind of be like the orb in the center. Which... Oh, no. And then we'll put another one of these. And like 2 more up. And how can we cap that off? Maybe one of these? Let me take a look through a little bit more. Could also use a dirt block. But I think that might be the opposite of what I want. I think that's about as good as we're gonna do. I don't think I need this one at the top there. And we'll make our little green friend on top. So, I don't know if this is the type of green I want, but let's see what we've got. It's kind of a light green. That's not bad. We can use that. We'll make this the center of its belly, or how do we want to position this little guy? I was feeling like maybe have him rest on top of the staff. Do you think he'd lie down with his belly on the center of the staff? Or do you think he'd have, like, his paws on it? Yeah, you know what? Pull what off? Which one, Jalix? The paws would be kind of cool. Alright, so we'll do like this for one paw. And then this will be the other front paw that's kind of just leaning a little bit more forward, or gripping downward a little bit. Okay, sleep time. Let me redo this. Not sure. Let me get a different image of... That's what I want. I got an image that might help me to make that work. So we're gonna have the little one's gonna rest its paws on either side. Kind of like it's holding on to the top of the staff. And we'll cut that like that. Hello and welcome, Yum Sky. Hope you're having a chill and lovely Sunday. And that will come back into the body like that. And we will have the body actually come down this way. So those are the paws. This is the upper body. We're gonna make it a little rounder. So we'll add this. And then we'll have its head kind of peeking out a little bit. And we need a white block of some kind. The new game was not mentioned yet. It will be mentioned very shortly. Glad to see you all are hyped about it. That one. That's too big. That's... So what we'll do is put the eyes right here. And then the little leaf popping out of its head. And do one of these. You know what? We'll make the entire back just a little bit bigger. And then we'll do something like this. And I don't know if it looks anything like the creature. We just have to add the tail now. It's a big bushy tail. I think that's about as close as I'm going to be able to get. It looks like it's called Crumpkin. That's probably about as good as I'm going to get in Staxel, to be honest. I'm not entirely unhappy with that. Alright. Also, hello, Imagination Scene. Hope you're having a chill and lovely Sunday. New game. Was the game mentioned yet? The game was not. You bet it's a spooky one. Harry says I've been multitasking. Was it one of the ones we voted on? That's actually kind of impressive. Reading requires a lot of attention. I don't find that reading requires a lot of attention personally, but I know it's difficult for some people. Shark says that reminds me I have more reading to do. Anarch made an anarchist reading list, and I got a bunch of books from that. Nice! Perry says 8 does dialects can't seem to run the audio and visual in parallel, though taking a break from the reading. Staxel is crazy since I last saw it. I'm kind of happy with how this came out, all things considered. Looks like a weird Pokemon. Almost looks like a Chikorita merged with something else. But the leaf tail's there, and a leaf on its head's there. You want to know the game now? Alright. The next game that we are going to be playing, we're going to make the portal for it. Need a very specific color. That's not a green leaf block. Where's a good place to do this? The game is entitled Pumpkin Jack. It's a Halloween-themed game, and we're going to build a little portal into the world. Let me see if I can pull up a trailer so you all can see the game. I am gonna see if I can pull this up. There we go.
Once upon a time, in the great Arkansas Kingdom. The devil gave Jack one simple mission: find the wizard and destroy him.
So that is going to be our next game. That is going to be the new game. So I don't know what we're gonna make as a portal, because I know the monument at the end should very much be his pumpkin head, but I don't know what the portal should be. It looked like there was a blue fire-looking portal that was in the game. I don't know if maybe I could make that. Let's see, maybe we have like a blue flame somewhere. We could do something with jack-o'-lanterns. Make a pumpkin portal. We don't really have blue flame. We have spooky candles. We have little skull candles. And we do have the jack-o'-lanterns. So what if we... Have a good one, Jalix. Take care. Thanks for stopping in and for the good conversation as usual. And I hope you have a good night. Gotta clear this area. And what we're gonna do... One, two, three, four. 1, 3, 4. 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Oh, I messed that up. I messed that up. So this should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we will put spooky candles at all of the intersections. This side's messed up, isn't it? That's, yeah. Whoopsie. How did it work then? No, it's not messed up. Never mind. Is it? It's off center. I see that. Where did I mess up? 5, 2, 3, 4. This corner has 5. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. Okay, much better. And then probably use that same green leafy block that we were using before for the stem. We're just gonna go all in on the pumpkin. And honestly, let's just add extra candles on the outside for good measure. There we go. Our little portal into the next game. It's simple, it glows. Maybe make one change to it. Move the eyes up slightly. And now... No. Yeah, I think that's better. And from the ground it looks sufficiently creepy. But from the air, it's a jack-o'-lantern. And then we'll build an actual pumpkin or pumpkin jack next to this. So yeah, I don't necessarily want to go into Pumpkin Jack today. I think I'd rather save that for the next 2 weeks. I don't want to jump into like 30 minutes of gameplay, as it were. So is there anything anybody wants to see in Stack Soul while we're here? It has been a really, really long time since we've fully explored that. We should go see Base Cat. Where are you at, Base Cat? What you doing? Oh, it's nighttime, so maybe Base Cat's sleeping. No? Where is Base Cat? Are you downstairs? I don't know where Base Cat is. Oh. Hey, Base Cat. Oh, I forgot Base Cat's face is on the back of the ship. And this is the all-seeing eye of Base Cat that knows all. So yeah, unless anybody has any suggestions or anything they want to see, I think I'm gonna call it a stream a little early today, if that's cool with everyone. And next week we will journey into Pumpkin Jack. So Pumpkin Jack, from what I've seen, is another about 6-hour experience. I might have another little quick Halloween game that we can follow up with. That may be like an hour or two to finish off that other stream, depending on how things go for the stream near Halloween. And then we'll go back into what was voted for. I promise that first and second place in the ranked choice that we did would end up winning. And so second place will be taking it over after that. But I can't not have a spoopy game for Halloween. Last year it was Night in the Woods, which I think more than did its job. And this year it's going to be Pumpkin Jack. So looking forward to sharing that all with you all. In terms of the stream itself, I'll give you all the 5 minutes as usual to continue chatting, or maybe a little bit more if you all want. But yeah, if you're someone who's made it this far into this and has enjoyed the content that's been put out, you've enjoyed Omno and Staxel, which again, Omno was a great game and I loved sharing that journey with you all, then by all means, definitely consider supporting the channel via Patreon if you're in a financial place to do so, and only if you're in a financial place to do so. And additionally, consider joining the Discord, where we have lots of topics on games, politics, and everything in between. So, with that said, my name is Anarchist Tara. I want to thank you all so much for watching, ending a little early today, but we'll be back normal time next week. So I'm going to give you all some time to just chat, and we will be back next week with Pumpkin Jack. Take care, everyone.